And now I will say, not 100% of the time. It was not a habit. So it wasn't 100% of the time. But Marjorie, when there were times when she would say, Pastor Rich, you look very nice today. And today, I'm dressed up because one of the things you should dress up for, you should dress up for weddings. You should dress up for special occasions. And for me, it's an incredibly special occasion that in a little bit we're going to celebrate Marjorie's homegoing to heaven. We know she's with the Lord. And I'm going to say one of my blessings is there are times when I look at my prayer list and I think, a lot of people on this prayer list, maybe I should edit it. I mean, some of these people, really, is there any hope for them? I've known them since the late 90s. And I have to be honest with you, Marjorie was one of those people I've had that thoughts from time to time. And known her since probably the early 2000s, maybe 99, I don't know. And wow, I don't know that my prayers made a difference, but I am certainly glad to just have the fulfillment of knowing that maybe they did. And so I'm just thankful for God's work in her life. And, excited about celebrating that. I also, there are times, and I think people know this in their everyday lives, I would hope so, but there are times when in ministry, you do all what you're supposed to do, you get ready, you're prepared, and then the Lord says, yeah, not today. And you're like, oh God, if you could have told me that earlier, I might have got an extra hour of sleep, No, not really. That was a joke. But I have a message that I just believe is supposed to go for next week. And I just wanted to change a little bit. Some of this we did have planned, but some of this is just, trusting the Lord with it. And so I want to ask if somebody would bring the carts up here. Going to have to kind of wiggle through here. While they do, CJ's already warned you. So I'm going to call on, and I hope it doesn't embarrass people because I didn't get permission. So I'm going to call on Olivia because I know she baked bread. But I'm not going to start with her because that would be really unkind. And I'm going to call on Becky because I know she baked. And I'm going to call on, I would call on Yannick, but I don't see Yannick. He's not here. And I know he helped bake the bread, but the girls made bread. Is that right? And so, guys, when I call on you, please come up. But I want us to remember what we talked about 2 weeks ago. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But first, I just want to say just a tiny bit, and then I'm going to say a little bit more later. And I want to emphasize a little bit more. I'm not going to talk long this morning, so don't get nervous about that. And the reason that I'm not going to talk long is everybody's mouth's going to be watering until we're done talking about this bread. So I know that we can only sit there so long, guys. I think this is going to be fun and exciting. But we talked about a couple weeks ago that during the week we celebrate Easter was Passover, right? Well, within days of Passover, like the same week, they celebrated the bringing of the first fruits. And so they would bring, as they gathered in Jerusalem for Passover, one of the things they would bring along, because they were going to celebrate this as well, they would bring a sheaf, one sheaf of wheat, or grain, I should say. And that sheaf would represent the first fruit of the harvest that was just starting, the winter wheat that was now about ready to harvest. And so in my creative imagination, so I'm imagining in an agricultural society, I'm imagining like these people who grew the wheat, the dads, the mom, as a family, they're going out. And I can imagine the little kids picking out their sheaf of grain, can't you? And they'd be so excited about it because they're going to take it clear to Jerusalem. So they're going to put it in probably something so that it doesn't get damaged, because they're going to present this to the Lord. And then 50 days later, they're going to celebrate the Feast of Pentecost, where they go home then and they gather all the wheat. They look at this amazing harvest. And so now they take this and they grind the wheat. And the little kids learn how many pieces of wheat, this big pile of the chaff, of this stalks that get burnt or blow away or whatever. But there's this little bit of wheat that turns into bushelsfuls, but then you have to grind that. And it takes a lot to make a loaf of bread. And so they bake 2 loaves of bread as a household, and they go back on Pentecost, and they go into for the Feast of Pentecost, celebrating the harvest. That's what Pentecost, that's what the people were, that's where their minds were. That's what they were preparing for when they came in to celebrate the Feast of the Pentecost. And so we encourage everybody, because here at Agora, you guys, I don't care who you are. We work hard because we serve. We're not trying to prove any point, just what God's called us to do, to be servants. And so we do. And it's very challenging. And so we decided to take Sunday last weekend, the weekend. It was the Pentecost weekend. And we decided we're going to take that as a Sabbath rest and celebrate as households. And I encourage people to bake. And so I'm going to ask you, so what did you bake? It's one first question I'm going to ask you. So what did you bake? Secondly, is there some meaning behind what it is regarding your gratitude, your thankfulness, how God's provided for you? So why does this represent something that God blessed you with abundantly? Becky, I'm going to put Becky on the spot first. And you know what? Whatever you share is going to be fine. But I want to ask, you're going to, I'll get that. You hold this and just start talking. I'll get it for you. You
I
can
want
start
this
with-
one.
Oh, you want to? Okay. It's a special order. That's okay.
Okay. So as he uncovers it, you'll see this is, it's not bread, okay? I'm not the big bread baker, but this
And we
is-
had loose
it's bread
rules
like,
for this.
yeah.
You know, it takes wheat. So there you go.
So the reason I picked this one is because I use black raspberry jam that came out of our front yard. And for those of you that knew Nina, which is probably only Judy and Billy, but Nina her son had worked at an orchard in Pennsylvania, and he brought to me, it was just like a twig, right? It was just a
Mhm.
twig of a plant. It was a black raspberry plant. And her son, Chris, is his name Chris? No, what was Nina's son's name? I don't remember. Anyway, he planted, that's terrible. Anyway, he planted this plant on our hill of our front yard. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Anyway, so he planted it right in the middle of our hill, and I don't know anything about plants, okay? So, but he put this plant, and it just so happened at the bottom of our hill was this fire hydrant
It leaks.
that leaked, and there was like this pool of water. And we kept calling the city, like, hey, you got to do something about this pool of water. Well, it ended up, and it was forever till they came out to fix it. But it actually was the best thing for our plant, because we found out later from Carl and Mary Jane out at Haven. They said, well, to get the best fruit, you have to have really strong roots. And so the roots of this black raspberry plant were striving to get down to that water supply at the bottom of the hill. And because of that, it strengthened the roots. And I tell you what, the black raspberries took over our front yard. And anyway, so I made this from my first fruits last season, because right now we're about ready for the new season of black raspberries. But my first yield of fruit, I made black raspberry jam, and it was in our freezer. And so when I was making this, I got out a jar of black raspberry jam that came from the first fruit of our black raspberry plant, and I made this morning. So it's freshly made this morning, and so what's that? Okay, yeah, need to move on. Okay, and then this coffee cake. Okay, so when you have to know this, when we first got married, I did not know how to cook or bake or anything like that. And I was given this Mennonite cookbook. And so that cookbook, I've used many recipes, but my very first fruits of making coffee cake was this one. And this is it's got cinnamon in it and pecans, and it became a real favorite of our sons, Josh and Richard and Ben. They love this coffee cake, and so I thought about that. It was one of the first coffee cakes I learned how to make, and so that's a lot of good memories with making that cake. And then I also made some banana walnut muffins, and okay, the big reason I made this was because it is healthy. Okay, there's no sugar in it, but also it's a very quick recipe, and yeah. So that was the big reason for that one.
Bananas, I think they have a lot of sugar. Yeah. Not one sugar.
It's a natural. Yeah, it's a natural.
Okay, the girls that made this. Oh, Phil helped too. I wasn't told Phil helped. Nice to have you up here too, Phil.
Yeah, because Phil was home alone now. He joined us in baking. This is like a German recipe. It's a seed bread. Yeah, it doesn't have a meaning or like. We just spent some time together yesterday and made the dough and just shared some blessings, and we had a pretty good time together.
So I'm going to ask you, so what kind of blessings? How has God blessed you abundantly? Like the week we talked about.
We talked a lot about our group and how our group blesses us in this year, and that it's just a really big blessing to be here with such great people and people we got so close to, and we're like a big family now, kind of. We talked a lot about that.
That was what I was about to say, actually.
And we talked about that, how we grow up in our faith, especially with our bad times and those struggles. And yeah, we saw how God was helping us in this year, and yeah, that was a big blessing for us all, that we can see how God works in our lives.
We also, with that, we also talked a lot about trusting the Lord in whatever happens. So we shared a lot of stuff that we went throughout the year, and then how God showed us that He has a bigger plan. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you. Olivia, come on up. That's what I called on her last. I knew she'd be, but she did an awesome job there.
Oh, but we made cheese stuffed naan bread.
That's it.
That's it.
So-
That's it.
So we made cheese stuffed naan bread. We haven't really baked bread before, so we did make some like regular loaf bread and white bread, but this right here seemed to be the hit that everybody enjoyed a lot in the house. It's our first time making it, and it's really good. So it's just a blessing to spend time as a family in the kitchen. Getting flour all over the place and baking bread. It's something we've never done before, and something I think we'll try and traditionalize and move forward with.
So the thing I think is cool about that was I gave no one instructions on what to make. I told him, keep it pretty wide. We're just looking for the symbolism involved. All of these products take wheat. They come from grain. And what when I was talking with CJ and Amanda and Olivia, one of them said, "Yeah, we baked this," and Olivia said, "Well, I baked it." So I thought that was cool, and she was really proud of that. But one of the reasons why I thought that was really cool is because this bread here is probably more consistent with what people would have brought to Jerusalem for bread, because this is the kind of this would be much more the character of the bread. So I just thought that was really cool, that's what turned out for them, right?